Tell myself not to look at it. Whatever you do, don't look at it. People always ask me why I'm so attached to my Madonna records. My answer is that they're like my own little treasures, and I love collecting them and looking after them. And today, I'm going to add to my collection. It's a warm Saturday morning, and I'm walking into Bolton town centre. Set off from the top of Tongmore Road, past Tom Ashton's petrol station and the new Quick Save supermarket, and then Dave's Aquarium and the new larder dealership on Folds Road. But I know what's coming up next. The very thought of it makes my heart start racing. Tell myself not to look at it. Whatever you do, Charlie, don't look at it. I'm going into town to buy the new 7-inch single of Madonna's Like a Prayer, which came out earlier this week on March the 3rd, 1989, which felt like a really important date because it was Madonna's first release in nearly 18 months, a long period during which I waited desperately for some new material. And then, suddenly, my idol burst back into my life with a video on which she dances on burning crosses and then goes into church to kiss a black Jesus. It's wound loads of people up. It's made a lot of religious people really mad. I just can't get enough of it, and I can't stop listening to the song. It has lyrics comparing the love Madonna feels for a man to the love that religious people feel for their God. But I can't help thinking how similar it sounds to the love that I feel for her. And that love now feels stronger than ever, which is why I'm going into town to buy the single. I pass under the bridge, make my way up to Bow Street, which leads right onto Market Hall, where Mum works. And I'm nearly there, but all I can think about is the building I'm about to pass. The building that I desperately don't want to look at. I keep my head down as I sense it coming up on my right, and I know exactly what the sign says. It's the Star and Garter. The Star and Garter is Bolton's only pub for queers. Not that there's any way you'd know that by looking at it, because it's not the kind of thing they want to advertise. I only know because the kids at school are always making jokes about it. Sometimes rumours go round that someone's dad or someone's uncle was spotted going in there. I've no idea what it looks like inside. And there'd be no way of finding out even if I wanted to. The pub only has very small windows with bars on them, frosted glass and net curtains. Clearly, no one who goes in there wants to be seen. And the last thing I need is for anyone to see me near it. So I dart past, my eyes trained feverishly to the ground. Once I emerge onto Bridge Street, I can feel myself starting to relax. With a new bounce in my step, I head on up the street, past Woolworths and the turning that leads to Churchgate and Ye Olde Pasty Shoppy, which, by the way, has the most amazing meat and potato pasties that you can only get in Bolton. Continue up Mealace Lane, past the Arndale Centre, which has a huge cage of brightly coloured budgies in the middle, cross Victoria Square with its fountains frothing away, and the stone lions looking down grandly from the town hall steps. And in the distance, you can see the museum, which has huge amount of treasures, such as a dinosaur skeleton and an ancient Egyptian mummy. You know, I am always fascinated by the way the people who work there look after and collect these things. Reminds me of the way that I look after my own collection of Madonna records, which to me is every bit as precious. And that's why I'm excited as I arrive at Newport Street and my final destination, Virgin Records. I head on inside, go straight over to the section marked New Releases, and slide out a copy of Like a Prayer. I hold it up to check it's in mint condition, then go over to the counter and pay. I hug my new record to me and walk out the shop. Now I don't want to linger around town, as I know I'll be tired by the time that I've walked all the way back home. So I cross the town hall square, thread my way through the streets until I arrive back at the turning into Bow Street. And I know what's waiting for me. The Star and Garter. As I round the corner, I try my best not to look at it, but the sound of the door slamming attracts my attention. Instinctively, I look over. And there it is. Can't avoid it anymore. The exterior's darker than I remember, and someone's painted graffiti on the walls that says, "Queers out. No AIDS here." Almost instantly, I can feel my heart rate start to soar, and I start sweating. The graffiti reminds me of the insults the other kids use against me at school. And these insults are getting worse. I can't seem to walk down the corridor without someone spitting out the word puff or queer. Some kids refuse to sit next to me on the grounds that they might catch AIDS. And others just pass notes around in class saying that I'm dirty and disgusting. Sometimes when the bullying gets really bad, I just try and hide. And I'll go and eat my lunch in a toilet cubicle, chewing every bite as quietly as possible so that no one knows I'm in there. Of course, loads of other kids get bullied too, for loads of different reasons. Anyone with red hair is laughed at for being ginger. Some overweight kids are called fatsos, and anyone from a poor family is ridiculed for being a scrubber. But the insults directed at me always sound much worse. And they hurt. They really hurt. One of the reasons why they hurt so much is because I know they're true. Because when it comes down to it, I do fancy boys rather than girls. I get an excited rumble in my tummy when I open up a copy of Smash Hits, see a picture of Bros or Brother Beyond, that I just don't get when I look at a picture of Tiffany or Debbie Gibson. Truth is, I know I'm queer. And I absolutely hate it. More than anything, I don't want to be queer. And the knowledge that I am feels like a poison corroding me from within. I wonder if I could identify the poison and somehow cut it out of me. I don't see how else I'm supposed to feel about it. I've never met any queers, and no one in my world ever says anything nice about them. All I have to hold on to are the occasional gay men that I see in Madonna videos, like the sailors holding hands in Open Your Heart, or the interviews in which my idol talks about her gay best friend, or the gay dance teacher who inspired her to follow a dream. I tell myself that Madonna would love me if she knew I fancied boys, and that only makes me love her more. But the problem is that she lives in America, and as far as I can make out, so do all her gay friends. And America might as well be on another planet to Bolton. All we have here is a Star and Garter, which is the dirtiest and dingiest pub in the world. And then just then, I hear the sound of the door slamming again, and I look over, and a blonde lad walks out of the pub and onto the street. I'm shocked, but there he is right in front of me, the blonde quiff, wearing snow-washed jeans and a matching jacket. He pulls his collar up, presumably so that no one will recognise him. I mean, there are loads of people on the street. I hope no one can spot me watching. I carry on walking, but I can't help following the guy out the corner of my eye. And then suddenly, an aggressive-sounding voice calls over to him. I stop and see that 3 lads wearing Bolton Wanderers t-shirts are walking from the bus stop towards him. Their leader has a thick neck, big bullet head. He's the kind of lad that Mum would call dog rough. He calls over to the man from the pub, calls him a Nancy boy. But the man just ignores him and carries on walking. So the 3 lads rush up to him, and the one with the thick neck shoulder barges him so hard he almost knocks him into a wall. Now, I can't tell what they're saying, but they're obviously insulting him and threatening him, and the man from the pub has gone white in the face. Looks like he's pleading with them to leave him alone. But the lad with the thick neck is just standing over him and shouting into his face. Now, by now, my heart is pounding so violently I can feel it in the back of my throat. There are loads of people on the street, but none of them is saying anything. They're all just pretending they haven't noticed and looking away. But I can't stop myself from standing and staring, and without realising it, I'm holding my record in front of me like a shield. And then suddenly, one of the leader's mates looks like he's telling him to back off, and the lads start to pull away. As the man from the pub watches them leave, he looks utterly petrified. And he scurries off and around the corner to the sounds of cries of, "Dirty queer!" I suddenly realise I haven't breathed in all this time. And I gulp in some air. I have to keep moving before anyone notices me. What if the lads in the football shirts can tell I'm queer too and start having a go at me? I force myself to start walking. I tell myself I'm not queer. I can't be. This is what happens to queers in Bolton. They get sneered at and pushed around in the street. If I accept being queer, then this is what I've got to look forward to. The thing is, However hard I try, I can't stop myself fancying boys. However hard I try to suppress these feelings, they always resurface. It's like trying to hold an inflatable ball underwater, only for it to bob up over and over again. Well, I'll just have to try and keep holding it down. Being queer is a dirty secret that I have no choice but to keep to myself forever. I quicken my pace, head in the direction of home. I just want to get to my bedroom, lie on my bed and look up at my posters of Madonna and feel safe. Because if anyone can save me, Madonna can.